Today I'm going to touch on 4 recent performances. Timings and View Profile are multi-located dances over the internet. Kama Bagata Neelam and Astral Convertible Reimagined were staged with locally distributed network dependencies. All 4 use distributed collaborations and data transfer to explore the human ramifications of and possibilities inherent in modern modes of communication. Internet communication and data distribution expand our reach and connectivity through electronic means. What does this mean for our humanity, both individually and collectively? How does this affect us as a global village? So the big topics for me relating to humanity in this work are: how is my presence felt or perceived? How is my identity transformed and reconstructed? Where is the location of the performance? Where am I at any one time? And community: who is looking at me and interpreting my message? Collaborative works using internet communication and data transfer tools are a way of grappling with the changing world on a subconscious level. This is of core concern to us now. Just last week, a student responded to my latest work saying, "Electricity is the difference between silence and laughter, loneliness and interaction. When I'm with my electricity, I never feel lonely at all." View Profile was a multi-located performance focusing on presence and identity. For identity to be transmitted via the internet, it must be captured and demolished, removed from the physical and thrust into the media sea, then reconstituted at another place. This gives rise to the phenomenon of what I call mediated presence. If you Google yourself, you may find you have multiple identities constructed by unknown others. We created false Facebook identities as characters in this piece who were friended by audience and internet onlookers. Their identity was constructed as the piece went along. These characters actually still exist. Each dancer created a signature move, I'm going to dance now, that was shown to a remote character named Z, who emulated and transformed it. When Z then danced it, it had become powerful media and represented the online world that takes what we feed the media sea and makes of it what it will and then propagates it like an internet meme. 2 musicians at SARC in Belfast, the Sonic Arts Research Center, had online meetings with us to plan the performance and rehearse. The Irish musicians performed live in 4-channel CD quality sound direct from Belfast, accompanying the dance with leitmotifs they had developed for each character. Timings is a performance, the internet affords multimodal communication over long distances in more or less real time. But latency can cause timing problems, which is usually seen as a drawback. But in timings, I use latency metaphorically to represent the vital role that timing plays in our lives by layering multiple data representations of the same movement gesture at different latency rates. I asked, how do we respond to multiple occurrences of the same gesture arriving sequentially? Dancers developed specific personae and accompanying gestures with psycho-emotional meaning, which were then made into dance loops that were captured with custom 3D positional tracking and looping software, as well as with a 2D video camera. Various media types representing the same gestures were then transmitted to our internet partners at NIU in Illinois and to Japanese Butoh dancers in Tokyo. These media types travel with more or less latency. We were also able to take advantage of the great distance to Tokyo for maximum latency effect. These media types arrived at remote locations one after the other. Musical representation was created out of gestural data in real time. Live video streaming transmitted the same gestures at a different time. Positional data controlled avatars, which you can see in the background there, performed the same gestures with even more latency. And recorded video was to come at even a later time. The dancers responded to the layered incoming data according to their persona. If I respond to a gesture once, then see it again in a different form, do I respond differently, having experienced it once or twice before? How does latency-based layering affect the meaning of what is seen? Do cultural differences affect how we perceive gesture? This slide shows my latest piece called Kama Bagata Neelam, which used local networking to link the dancers and the audience together in community. The premise was that even though because of our attraction to personal devices, we're losing togetherness that comes from the personal touch, internet connectivity allows us to grow community on a larger scale, albeit a little differently with electricity. What happens is this giant iPad man comes down and delivers the flashy devices of our desire to the community below. And we developed custom software to control the dancers' iPads. And this let us join these dancers together to display graphics sequentially at the same time or in any combination at all. We also created a smartphone app to link the audience to the dancers in community as well. Audience members with smartphones were able to see this extra material that those who didn't have smartphones couldn't. But what's interesting about that is that the audience shared these phones and actually became members of a community together. It was a very interesting offshoot of that. At the end, the dancers appear to become their devices, or at least see the world solely through them. The networking is complete. We are disembodied yet connected through the internet. Is this our future? Astral Convertible Reimagined was a restaging of one of the very first interactive dances. The original set pieces responded roughly to the proximity of individual dancers by producing sound and light. In my reimagining, I used micro-wireless technology and the ideas of Web 2.0 to make the set pieces one unified unit depending upon the joint actions of the community of dancers for their interactivity. So these wireless accelerometers were sewn into the costumes and reported their position and direction to the central computer. Machine learning algorithms interpreted the accumulated data in terms of community. Is this a harmonious group? Is there one rebel in the crowd? Is the group disorganized? Harmonious groupings created harmonious sounds, whereas disjunct or more complicated arrangements elicited more nuanced musical responses. The lights and sound making apparatus formed their own wireless network and acted in conjunction with each other to create an overall look on the stage. So I hope that this look at these performances has somehow sort of given you a glimpse of how network collaboration can really be used to advance dance and theater and grapple with the problems of the 21st century.